Hey guys, this is Mr. H. Hey, um, I wanted to do a video, something that we did early in the year. I'm going to look at the June 2024 Regents, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you how you should attack it when you're taking the Regents. Let me go through this. All right, on my screen, on my iPad. First thing you should do is go through the entire exam. Don't start at question one when you get the test. First, before you start trying to answer questions, go through and read the entire exam first. And then anything that has an equal sign or inequalities, you're going to put a G next to it. Anything that has the word equivalent, especially in the multiple choice section, you're also going to put a G beside it. If it has something, it may not have the word equivalent, but if it's something like equivalent, like this polynomial can be factored into, right? So basically they're saying this polynomial, it can be factored into something that's equivalent to, that's also an equivalent problem. But anything that has the words equivalent or can be interpreted as an equivalent should also get a G beside it. And then anything that can be made into a function, put a G beside it. So anything that that has equal signs, equations, basically inequalities, you're going to graph them. Or that means you have the potential to graph them to help you answer. Anything that has equivalent, the word equivalent next to it, you have the potential to graph. Anything that can be made into a function, you have the potential to graph. So always be looking for those opportunities. Third, any question that has a table in it, an XY table, you could put an S beside it being for spreadsheet. That means you can use the spreadsheet function of the calculator to potentially help you answer it. So always be looking for opportunities to to use your spreadsheet. Number four, look for opportunities to store numbers into variables. This is primarily for the multiple choice section, but some of these questions can be answered by just storing a number and then computing something and comparing answers to see which one works. And then this one is kind of unique, but sometimes all you need to do is do a true false. Uh, test to see if you put in a number, does it make it true, make it false? Sometimes it's some of those questions, especially again in the multiple choice section, can be done that easily. So let's go to the actual exam. I'm going to go through the entire exam from June 2024, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. All right. So here's the exam. Was given this summer. This was the first new version of the Algebra 1 exam, 35 questions. All right, so let's go. All right, first of all, straight away, this is a spreadsheet. You can use spreadsheet for this and basically look to see what kind of function it is. It's going to be a quadratic because it's a ball being thrown in the air. But if you use the spreadsheet, it'll help you figure out what your answer is. This one, you have a bunch of inequalities, so you could potentially graph this. The other thing that you should know, I've done some videos on word problems. In this case, it's an ax plus by equals c. In this case, it's going to be ax plus by is greater than or less than or something. But still, it's basically the standard form that you're looking for. But you can graph this. Now, this one, graphing probably won't help you, but it doesn't matter. So let's make this. This would be a G. This would be an S. Let's go. This one has equal signs, so you can put a G here. All right, let's go. This one, you see the word equivalent. That means you can graph it. This one, irrational. This one isn't a graphing one, but you can definitely use the calculator. Look at once you enter these, you're looking for the one that has a bunch of decimals that don't have a repeating pattern. That's what it means to be irrational. All right, this one definitely has an equal sign, so you can graph this, split it. You're going to make this into two functions, F1, F2, find the intersection. This is just a word problem. You just have to understand it. This one, you can make this into a function. Uh, and maybe if you graph the function, it'll tell you what kind of graph it is. But basically, you have to know what degree is. And all it means is highest exponent. Let's keep going. This one, you can definitely graph this one. It has an equal sign. It's a function graph. You're looking for the y-intercept of a line. Now, whether you realize it or not, you can use the spreadsheet on this. You could do X and Y, this -1, 5, and then 2, -1. And we know it's a line, so you're going to go menu 461. So you can use the spreadsheet. Now, this one is one that a lot of you won't see it, but this is an important one. So I'm going to put a star next to this one. So this is definitely a spreadsheet. Yes. This is a bunch of functions. So we're going to graph, put a G. Next. Again, this one, whether you realize it or not, is a spreadsheet. So once you know, they're saying common ratio, so it's going to be an exponential, but they've given you two terms. They're saying the third term is 25. So here's what you can put into your table: 325, and then 5, 625. And then use the spreadsheet, and then this will be menu 468. So this will be exponential. And then we just need the common ratio or whatever is inside the parentheses. Let's go. This is a box plot. This is, you got to know what a box plot is. So if you don't know, go look at a video on box plots. They don't have more, they usually have one or two questions. Let's keep going. This one, they're giving us four quadratics. This one we're gonna graph, this one we're gonna graph. They've given us a graph here, so we just have to interpret it. Here, we're gonna use a spreadsheet, and then we're gonna turn this into a function. We're gonna come up with the equation, and so we're gonna graph this, and ultimately graph this and compare them. All right, this one, let's see. We have equal signs here, so we can graph these. Oops, sorry about that. Got a little carried away. Where are we? Right here. So these you can graph. This will be F1, this will be X, and then you're going to look at the table and see which one gives you this sequence. Let's go. This is a scatter plot. You just kind of have to know it. Let's see here. They give us two functions. F of X, they've got equals. So this is definitely something you can graph. This is just a graph. Basically, you got to take this, use your formula. Because the average rate of change is the same thing as the slope. So it's going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's it. If I make this red, basically you start here, and you just find the rise over run. That's another way you could do it. All right, so let's go. Back to blue. All right, this, you see the word equivalent. You can graph it. Graph this as a function. Graph these as functions. Look at your output table. See which ones have the same output table as the original. That's an easy answer. This one, they give you the graph. You're just looking for the intersections. All right, boom. And we just want the x coordinate. This one, they gave us a function. You can definitely graph it, but you really have to be able to interpret this. So you should put a G beside this one. And you should put a G besides this one because you do have an equal sign. But basically, they've already given you the graph, so you don't have to graph it. You just have to interpret the graph now. Now, this one, you can definitely graph it. But before you graph it, you have to do something with the A. So you got to store a number for A and then graph it. Make it into two functions, F1, F2, and then you're going to get an answer, and then you're going to come down here and plug in A and see which one matches your the answer that you found. This is what we should probably go over. Let's go. This one, you just have to know how to convert. Basically, all you're doing on problems like this is you're trying to look for something that cancels. So this cancels, this cancels. That's not the one. You're looking for something that cancels so that you have one unit on top and one unit on the bottom. That's what you're looking for. All right, this one is definitely something that you can graph. It's domain, so you're definitely graphing this. Let's keep going. This one it's got an inequality, so you can definitely graph it. Let's see, next one, you got a function. You can definitely graph it. But you got to make sure to get the full credit. When you get done, you got to do this. Wherever you see the X, you're going to replace it with a -3. But you can graph it and use menu 51 or use the table. Let's keep going. All right, here, This is just your understanding of functions. So even though it has an equal sign, graphing is not going to help you. Just have to know what a function is. This one, you got to be able to figure out percents. This one, you can definitely graph it. It's got an equation, but this one, we're going to graph it and we're going to use menu 62. Find the minimum, and then the minimum, the x coordinate we're going to need. And we're going to take the square root of the positive y coordinate. I've done a bunch of videos on that. So if you don't know what I'm saying, go watch that. And I'll put a link in here. This one, now you can turn this into a function. So you could say f of x equals 20x3 minus 45x and find the zeros. The zeros are basically going to be your factors. So this one is definitely one you can graph. This one, obviously, you can graph. They want you to graph it. They're telling you that. So this is an obvious G. And then you're going to use menu 64 because you need to find intersections. Boom, let's go. This one is a linear regression. So you're going to use the spreadsheet. Okay, spreadsheet. And it's menu 461. Menu 461, you got to round it, fix 2. Because it has 2 zeros. This is fixed 2, has 2 zeros. Got to be able to find the correlation coefficient. It's R. Look for it. All right. This one is definitely a graph. We're going to graph this, but we have to, since it has a leading coefficient that's not 1, when you graph it, you got to graph it as a fraction. I made several videos on how to do this, but it's got to be menu 62, but you can definitely graph this. This will be f of x equals. All right, last, we got a system of inequalities, so we're definitely graphing. So this is a G, and they want a coordinate in the port solution. Remember, somewhere on here, you're going to have a Superman S, and then you just got to find a point. It's in that area. This is the ax plus by equals c. So you're going to have 2 equations. 2 of these equations, boom, right? And then once you get your 2 equations, you're going to graph. So this is definitely graphing. All right, that's what I need you guys to be able to do. Before you start trying to answer questions on this exam, I need you to go through the entire exam, and anything that has an equal sign, inequalities. Let me go back to my original right here. I'm going to sum this up again. I know this video is going a little longer than I wanted, but this is important. Read through the entire exam first. Anything that has an equal sign, inequalities, if it has the word equivalent or something that is similar to equivalent, you can graph it, put a G next to it. Anything that can be made into a function easily, put a G beside it. That means you can graph. That's the whole point, graph. Second, anything that has a table, an XY table, not just any table, but it has an X and a Y or X and f of X, right? That means you can use the spreadsheet. Okay, look for opportunities to store numbers. Not a lot, but there are some. And then look for something that you can make into a true or false. So if a question is asking you if something is true or false, you can usually store a number into whatever equation they've given you or in, and then see if it's true or false by typing it into your calculator. All right, guys, that's the basis of what we're doing in order to pass this on Wednesday. If you have any questions or if you want me to do anything, dive a little deeper, send me an email or come see me. All right. I am going to sign off and I'm going to post this. All right.